Hello, hi, welcome to the space I'm going to be sitting in for the next hour, hour and a half. I don't know how long it's going to take me to read this book. It is currently first week of September, right? Funny story, in I think early August, I uploaded a video and tell something along the lines of I read a book about a woman begging a fork for my 100th read of the year. And I didn't know if I was going to do a video on the sequels. But that video got 2,000 views. I don't know what's happening. But I am on vacation still. This is obviously being recorded in September. I already said that. But I don't think I have room for this to go up until October, which I think is the same month that Forked comes out, or not Forked, Knifed comes out. Oh, the third book in the series. So that's also gonna be a video. Welcome to this. This is where I read Spooned, the sequel to Forked. A book about, I'll have it up above in the cards, but it's a book about a woman who finds out this fork from the set of very nice antique silverware is actually a man from World War II who was experimented along with the rest of his platoon, very Captain America style, and once the American government was done with them, turned them all into cutlery. And every time she put that fork inside of her in any way, he would turn into a man. And around 85% is when it goes from like a weird sci-fi romance to just pure smut for the rest of the book. It's basically a montage. It was a funny experience. Hilarious thing. I learned today, because part of me reading this is that it was for kind of a book club thing. I talked a bunch of other people into reading it. I was talking with them at the same time, right? One of them slid into Ruth's DMs, the authors, to talk to him about that. And I'm not gonna say anything else, but she seems really nice, and there may be things happening. I don't know. I don't know, but she seems really nice. And she did say, he did bring up the fact that I was the one who got everyone to read this book. And now for this month, we're reading Spooned, because I accidentally made a book club. Whoops. Technically, it's someone else's book club I just took over. And she was like, oh, thanks, Rose. So that's a thing in my life. What? I need life to be normal. This is gonna be mostly being time lapse. That's why I'm doing it now when I'm on vacation, because I can record it at any time of the day and not have to worry about it, because I am currently by myself, cat sitting, if you hear cats in the background. Also, this is such a weird setup. Other things. I bought wine for this. I don't know, it's a Sauvignon Blanc from 2023. It was like $16.70 at the grocery store. It was the cheapest white wine with a twist cap, because their corkscrew sucks, that I could find. Like, it took us 20 minutes to open up the red wine that she had, because she doesn't drink, that someone gifted them. The two of us combined took us 20 minutes. So I was like, no, I'm not dealing with that on my own. So I bought wine for this. I have wine. I have frozen pizza that I'm going to eat, and I want to throw in the oven soonish, because I just realized it's almost 7 o'clock. Whoops. And I'm hungry. But before any of that, I should read you the synopsis, which is what the book opens with. Another quick thing, the current plan is that I time-lapse mine when I'm eating food and whatnot. And then every 25%, I come in and I update you, right? So, you know, good times. Anyways, let me just read to you the synopsis, because I did that for the first one and people really like that. Just another case of forking leading to spooning. When a World War II super soldier trapped in cutlery discovers he can transform back into a man by being intimate with a woman, he seeks to free the rest of his unit via some unconventional matchmaking. But how do you find a woman willing to take a chance on a spoon? Cheryl isn't prepared to hear her friend is getting it on with a fork. Valid, Cheryl. Or that her friend's hot fiance is the result. I forgot they got engaged at the end. Oh my god. This is wild. This is wild. Cheryl wants nothing to do with their cutlery king. Valid, Cheryl. Until she holds the spoon for the first time and it feels meant to be. The dating pool has proven unsatisfying. Battery-operated devices don't cuddle you afterward. Your friend claims a kind-hearted, huge super soldier is trapped in your spoon and only you can free him. Wouldn't you give it a try? Just once, just to make sure. Yeah. Ruth, you're great. I love you. Oh my gosh, she has a TikTok. I don't use TikTok, but if I use TikTok, Ruth, if I use TikTok. This book is dedicated to anyone who has ever tried to please someone else so much that they lost themselves along the way. You're always enough. Be you and be proud. That reminds me, in the DMs, I did see that something to do with the cat in the first one is named after somebody she knows or something, which is cool. Trigger warnings. I remember in their initial one, it being very funny. This novella is about a World War II super soldier trapped inside a spoon who can only take human form by being intimate with a woman. The author attempted to keep the spooning jokes to a minimum, but some may have slipped through. That's funny because she does literally say in the forked one, I've been forked, when she realizes he's a fork. Oh my god, apparently she's a grandmother now. Sorry, I'm reading the part where she talks about why it took so long for Spoon to come out. It really did not take that long. I want to say it took a few months after the forked. And the next one's like a month or two. My feeling is that she wrote them all at once and she's just editing them before she uploads them, right? Wait a second. I wrote forked during a tough time when I needed to work on something silly. It gave me very much like, life is going to hell. Why not write this during the pandemic, right? During lockdown. Now I've laughed my way through writing Spooned and can't wait to share Forked or Knifed with you. God, I keep on calling it Forked. If these books don't completely tank my writing career, people have suggested that I could do these series. Ruth, I will pay money to do the series. I need more. There's like 12 of the guys. That's 9 more books you could write. Make a spatula. I don't know. Some want a set of 3 utensils with 1 heroine and a utensil I choose. That is a spin-off novella possibility. And the title being Sporked. God. These are hilarious, yes. Careful though, I can no longer look at large decorative wall utensils with a straight face. I also giggle every time someone says they have a favorite utensil. When you know, you know. You know, that's very funny because somebody did, one of the friends that I'm reading this with, did come across a fork just on the sidewalk and took a photo. I was like, I can't look at it. Yeah, this is great. This is great. Chapter 1, Cheryl. Let's go, Cheryl. It's 141 pages on my Kindle. Kindle says it'll take me about 2 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna preheat the oven. And by the time I get a quarter of the way through, the pizza should be being thrown in the oven. That's the current plan. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start the time lapse. I'm gonna turn on the light because of course the sun starts setting as soon as I start recording. That seems about right for me. And yeah, that's that. That's everything. This is spectacular. I'm so happy to be doing this. Okay, and I will be doing Knifed. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think Knifed comes out in October. I can't remember if it's October or November. And if it's early enough in November, I will record it for November and make that like a Thanksgiving special. Because that would be freaking hilarious. We all recognize that, right? Anyways, I'm gonna go do that. I will talk to you in 25%, technically 20%, because getting through all that was 4%. Whoops. That's fine. I'm not gonna talk about it. 5 chapters to 27% because I was in the middle of a chapter that I reached 25%. Yes, I did. Just great quote. Things that happened. I was right. I don't think I said it in the intro, but I was pretty sure it was the himbo for this one. Jack. I was right. He's the one that was born blind, and so he didn't have like your typical education, right? So he's not the smartest. But he is Hugh's closest friend, who was the fork in the first one. And also just like a really nice, kind guy who's big about family and really cared about his mother and all this stuff, right? Also there was hints that like before he went full on like super soldier mode, faking his death type thing, that she was gonna set up something because like he comes from money. Hints that his father was emotionally abusive, and that she was gonna set up something so that if he came back and like he couldn't be the same person because they fake his death, then he could like live off of that, which was like a thing in the first one where Hugh was like he secretly hid away money so that he could take care of his woman Mercedes. So that's a thing. Greg is the guy from the very beginning of the first one who is in the same building as Mercedes, and she kind of has a thing for her, but then she ends up with Hugh, right? He's catching strays immediately in this one too. He thinks Cheryl's hitting on him, and she's like, no, I'm dealing with the fact that the woman you introduced me to is trying to indoctrinate me into her cutlery kink cult. So that's fun. Love that. And she's now worried that Greg is only friends with her because he wants to bang-a-lang. Right? Other things. She went out to a bar. She was having a bad day. Also seems to have emotionally abusive parents. So that's fun. At least very commanding and controlling, right? And so she decides to go out for a drink, and a guy gets her a drink, and she immediately can tell. She doesn't drink much because it really heavily affects her. So when she took like one sip and it affected her even more than normal, she's like, oh, I've been fucking drugged. So that's basically a whole entire chapter. Her like going home after being drugged and be like, oh my god, and her whole mental state after that whole ordeal. Thankfully as soon as she brought up to the guy, they're like, oh my god, you drugged me, he like ran away, and the bartender was like, holy shit, okay, and called her a taxi and whatnot. And she does go to the police in the morning, and they're like, we will find him. I'm willing to bet Jack finds him and beats the living daylights or something like that. It gives me something like when Hugh fought people like who were harassing a woman on the street in the first one, right? Because similar vibes. He gonna protect his woman, even though they didn't know each other at the time, right? So that's fun. Yeah. She's still dealing with some of the aftermath of that, so that's fun. Also, like, there were hints that, like, when Hugh, like, stood up when she went to give the spoon back, which was the wrong spoon. She gave him Mercedes gave Cheryl the wrong fucking spoon. It wasn't Jack. Because it seems like the silverware has marks. Because there's more than 12 pieces of silverware, but there are 12 guys, right? And it seems the specific ones that are the guys have specific marks for their wounds. Like, the one that is him has 2 dots for eyes. And there apparently was a thing where his leg was blown off, an explosion. Wild. Right, but, and hear me out, yeah, when she gets there and Hugh stands up, she, like, is immediately, like, tall man, which is not a thing that she's had with him before, from what I can tell, so, like, definitely, like, a whole thing where she's, like, yeah, dealing with the aftermath mentally and physically from that. Good times. He turns into a fork in front of her so that she believes them, and then Mercedes is going through all the silverware. She's like, wait a second, this spoon must be Jack, and Jack would be the perfect guy for you. And starts listing off these characteristics, and she gives the spoon to her, and she can't give it up despite the fact that she's like, this is fucking crazy. So she takes the spoon home, and she decides to clean the spoon in the sink. And this is where we get to the part where I highlighted a section, and I need to quote it to you because it is so funny. I run my fingers up and down the length of it and shudder at how erotic the action feels. I've slept with men who didn't turn me on this much. This is about a spoon. He hasn't even turned into a real man yet. Oh my god. It's spectacular. My pizza's in the oven. It's probably gonna be done like the next minute. So I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna update where I am in the book club stuff. Open up the windows because I'm boiling to death. I am literally melting because the oven's on at 400 degrees, that's why. And eat my pizza. And maybe sip some of my wine. And I will be back. And I'll eat this carrot that I broke up in my hand this whole time. But yeah, I'll be back. Hello, the wine wasn't earned that time lapse. This is the wine. It is a sippy cup. It's green. I chose green. I forgot to close the doors. I'll close them in a hot sec. I chose green because the day I'm recording this is the Fish H Stingray's birthday, and my favorite color is green. Anyways, I had to put it in the freezer because I had to run under boiling hot water for like 5 minutes to try and open it, and that didn't work. And I literally had to cut it open. We're not talking about it. Me back. I was not expecting it. Like, it's not really, it's like on the back of your throat fizzy, and I think it's because it's citrus, because of that I read the bottle, in which I learned there's grapefruit in here, which makes sense. I don't think I'd spend the same amount of money for it again, but it's good. It's good wine. Anyways, I reached 51%, and the spoon vibrated. If you know anything, you know that means that he became a man. That scene, yeah, no, the scene, chapter 6 was a wild ride, because in that one we learn about Jack's past sexually, and so that was fun. It's really funny because it's one of the people was reading this chapter at the same time, and I was like, oh, have fun with this, and then she read it and she was like, yeah, and then it goes into Cheryl hanging out with one of her other friends, and talking about the whole ordeal, and her friend is basically like, well, why not just try it, because our best guess right now is that you're using this to distract yourself from your family stuff right now, and so if you do it and then he doesn't turn into a man, then you can like recognize, hey, this is me avoiding stuff, I should deal with that stuff, right? Valid. Though also at the end of that chapter I did 100% set up that friend being with the knife. Honestly, I was surprised if Knife wasn't about her. Do I remember that character's name? Absolutely freaking not. That's me we're talking about. Okay. Oh, also another thing we learned about Jack, he's almost 7 feet tall. He's okay. Sure, Jen. Okay. What else? Other things. Yeah, so because of her friend telling her that, she goes home and has some fun times with a spoon. In which point he turns into a man, and then quickly, like, she explains everything that Hugh and Mercedes told her, and he's all like, oh my god, everyone I knew is dead. Well, also due to the fact that she's naked, like, right there, and technically it's his first time ever seeing boobs because he was blind all the other times. So he's all like, ooga, but also like, oh no. I get it. And then, yeah, the shock of that turns him back into a spoon. And so then she's all like, I need to be scientific about this, because she's a big giant brain nerd. With a master's degree, just a fun fact. So she's all like, okay, I gotta see if I do it like the same exact way, it happens again. So she does, and it does. And he's all like, what the fuck is happening? So she explains it. And then he turns to a fork, or not fork, spoon again. So then she calls up Mercedes and learns, actually this whole time she had just like eaten a food she really likes with it and thought about him, he would have come out. She didn't need to bang a fucking spoon. And she's like, what the fuck, guys? There's a joke that, instead of sleeping in the doghouse, when Hugh does something, he has to sleep in the kitchen. In which Mercedes and Hugh are on their way with ice cream so that she can eat ice cream with a spoon and think about him. So that Hugh can be there to talk to him, because like obviously this is a big emotional deal for him, and when that happens is when the whole spoon thing happens. Right? She has theories about either pheromones or the hormones that happen when you're aroused being why they turn into humans from cutlery form, right? She has a theory about that. Also, it was heavily hinted in his last chapter that one of the guys, was it Rye? Something like that, betrayed them and knew that it was gonna happen. I don't remember that being a thing in the first one. Like, I remember there being like in their whole, like right before it happened, Hugh was in the middle, but that other guy and Jack were having a conversation, and he said something about Jack's mom, I think, and they were like kind of in a fight, and so like then that other guy apologized, and in Jack thinking of it, he's like, he didn't like say it to me as in like, sorry I did this thing, it was sorry as in something else. And so I'm thinking he had something to do with it, right? That's it. That's everything. Oh, also, so like when they're in cutlery form, they can feel everything their woman does to them when they're in that form. So she's been watching him a lot, and one of the first times when she puts him down afterwards, like it's like this all-encompassing warmth and like brightness, and he's like, oh my god, I'm in heaven and all this stuff, right? And then she puts him down and he's all like, this isn't heaven at all, no, this has to be hell. Because how else could you explain this? And I laughed. This book is funny, okay? It's funny. I am overheating and I've had those doors closed for 4 minutes. Can you believe this, Phoebe? She's walking right below me. Alright, I'm on chapter 10. How many are there again? I don't remember checking when I started it. 19. Yeah, I know. I will start the next time lapse in like a minute. I'm gonna get ready for bed. I'm gonna do my skincare and whatnot and brush my teeth. And then we'll start the next time lapse. I'll update people on the book club stuff, all that stuff. Also, did I tell you I ate the whole freaking pizza? I was gonna save some of it for lunch tomorrow. But then there were like 2 pieces left and I was like, I'm kind of still hungry. So I ate the whole pizza. Oh boy. I need to drink more water. I know this. Except it's warm. Because it's warm in here. It's hot. Me gonna go do things. I'll talk to you in like a minute. So. In case you're wondering, it's something like 80 degrees outside and it's 10:42. How can you? Also, I was writing down notes so that I can just add them all at once to the Buddy Freed thing on Storygraph. Things that have happened. We learned, I don't remember if I brought this up in the last one, but this was something I wanted to bring up, where their main job was to get German soldiers and to basically kidnap them and their families and give them to the US. And we get confirmation that the purpose of doing that was so that instead of the Germans putting the atomic bomb, the Americans got it and then used it. So that's a lovely. Obviously, they're not the biggest fan to learn that the whole thing they were fighting to do was a fucking lie, right? Oh, okay. So great things. I'm going off my notes. I didn't know I needed to read about from his point of view, what it's like being a spoon and her eating ice cream off of him. That was fun. Oh yeah, that's when my quote that I highlighted comes in. I've never felt this connected to anyone before. Then again, I've never been a spoon either. She almost makes a spooning joke at the end of this section. At the end of 75%. Because they're cuddling. Post-coital cuddling. And speaking of the coital, and the coitus, I forgot it was a thing where their body parts can, like, change. Like, they can, like, expand or interact. That's not the right word. Like, I remember that being hinted in the first one. And in this one, let's just say, he's so naturally built that he has to make a certain part of his body smaller in order to fit in her. And that's what he was naturally like before the experiment. I would like to call the police. What the fuck? So basically, oh yeah, there was also a thing at the end of the last section where she's starting to recognize, like, hey, maybe I should stop focusing on the fact that I want a bang-a-lang. Because he's dealing with a bunch of trauma, right? And learning a lot at once. And so, basically, he goes to change, and he was instantly going to Cheryl. It's like, okay, so you gotta support him, and you gotta be there for him. I don't care what you say. You gotta do all this stuff, put all this pressure on her. And Mercedes like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? And going very heavy into it, right? And she's all like, and I'll give Jack this. Jack overhears it, comes in, overhears part of it. He's like, stop, like, don't put all that pressure on her. It's not her job to take care of me. And is very protective of her. Immediately, like, basically kicks her out after that. And she's just like, which I get it, girl, I get it. Also, we learn in this section, he can lift a tank. He is strong enough to lift a tank. They have the good old conversation of the bang-a-langin' and how it's been 83 years for him, because like 80 years he was a spoon, and then 3 years of the experiment stuff, because they like had super strength and they didn't want to like hurt any woman they were with. And to explain how strong he is, he's all like, I can lift a tank with my bare hands. And now I'm picturing the Hulk. You know, that's not that wrong, actually. Okay, you know, there's like this whole thing where she's like, oh, I'll give you the tour of the city, and goes in the car with him, and he orchestrates this whole thing where she's like basically half on him, and then to make it so she doesn't fall, he repositions her to be fully on him, and then they have this whole conversation about how he's all like, I do not care about your sexual history, because like I have mine as well. I have a history of myself, like that would be hypocritical, but also like I just want you to talk to me, like communicate, right? We don't have to do anything, we don't have to go fast, we can just like kiss on occasion if you want, hold hands, like I don't care. Like we can do what you want, just like you gotta talk to me, right? Which then leads to her being like, oh boy, let's go. I get it. There's like this whole thing where he's all like, you've been hurt in the past, and she's all like, I don't know what you're talking about. But then like, it's like she's low-key panicking, because again, like 3 days ago, she was drugged at a bar. So she's panicking. And so like, okay, let's talk. Like, what's going on? Immediately sits down, he's like, okay, talk to me. Right. And she immediately starts blaming herself and then explains the whole story. He's like, okay, I'm gonna fight a bitch, and also it's not your fault. It's his fault. And also, I'm gonna fight a bitch. And she's all like, I know I should be like strong, but like sometimes I feel like I can't be. And he's all like, that's called being a fucking human being. And they have this whole deep conversation. Some of it we see of them like communicating and stuff. Fucking gross. And so then of course they fight. Well, first, I think this is when the whole tank thing happens. And so, conversation happens. So she panics and she's like, is it safe to have sex with him? So she panic texts Mercedes and she's like, can I bang? She's like, yeah, you're fine. Just use a condom like a normal fucking person. And so she's like, oh, okay, let's go. And then this man's one face sitting again, or writing, face writing, again, in this one. Like, I don't know how many men in the 40s are doing that, but I don't think it was many. Okay, like, I don't think it was a popular thing happening back then. 2, the amount of ways he was flipping her and all that stuff. I'm just saying, he should join the circus. Anyways, afterward, the chapter section ends with post-coital aftercare where he takes care of her, and then they cuddle or they spoon. The end. That's the end of that section. On to chapter 14. My stick notes, so I gotta start moving. Yeah, that's everything. I was like getting tired at like 63%. I was like, maybe I should just like lay down, stop recording, lay down, possibly finish it tonight, and then update you in the morning. And then I continued to read, and shit got wild. And here I am. Yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock. And according to my Kindle, I have 38 minutes left. So, yeah, I'm going to finish it tonight. If I don't drop my Kindle, oh my god, it's fine, it's okay. I don't have time to drop that thing. I'm going to drink some more water because I definitely need to. I know I'm dehydrated with this heat, and the coffee that I finished somewhat recently does not help. Mixed with the wine and all the salt and grease from the pizza. Anyways, I'm gonna go kiss Stella because she's being very fucking cute with the pillow next to me. And then open up the fucking doors again and finish this book. And I will talk to you once the book is done. I'm feeling the same rating, which is 4 stars, as I did with the first one. So, you know, that's fun. Well, we're back again, and I have to sneeze again, and we're ignoring that. Wild times. I brought up, his name's Ray, the friend who, the crew member of the unit, who may have had something to do with him all being turned into cutlery. Learn officially, his thing is that he was paralyzed, because of his father's abuse. Which is why he has anger issues. And so initially Jack really wants to turn him next because he's all like, oh my god, like if we turn him, he probably has answers. But Hugh talked him out of it because like he's dangerous. It would be better if they have everyone before they awaken him, right? Makes sense. Cough cough, he's the knife, and you know, knifed. Speaking of which, how dare she make me wait for knifed? I will talk about the ending in a minute. yeah, so that's a thing that's happening. Also, Jack talks you into going with him to, I'm pretty sure they murder the man who drugged her. I'm pretty sure they murdered him. Kind of funny. And while they were doing that, with Mercedes' help, Cheryl was figuring out that how the transformation stuff works with the dopamine and blah blah. It was like 2 pages of explanation, deep sciencey explanation of it. And I've had a lot of wine, so I was like, it's like after 11 p.m. I'm like, sure. So yeah, my brain just whoop, nope. But that's fine. That's fine. They love each other, yay. She shows him how to use the internet, blah blah blah. There's a suspicious weird thing with a black SUV. That's suspicious. That's weird. That's suspicious. That's weird. Before I continue, let me. I know there was another quote that I got. He's not just my spoon. He's the only spoon I'll ever want in my mouth or anywhere else on my body. Also, he has this whole thing of jealousy with other self-aware. So that's fun. Yeah, no, basically, Mercedes is like, we should find one for Ashley, right? Because Ashley recently broke up with the guy she was kind of seeing. She invites Ashley over to be like, oh, let me see what piece of self-aware calls to me. And it's Ray. I don't think Mercedes realized it was Ray. I think she just went, oh, she calls to one, cool. Because the whole conversation about how Ray's dangerous and which one Ray is was done just between Hugh and Jack, and it just happened that Cheryl overheard part of it. So yeah, that's the whole thing. So she's like panicking. She's like, okay, meet me here. Do not fuck that knife, right? I'm supposed to meet with her at a cafe, and she's like doing that on her way there on a call with Jack, about how they're all lovey-dovey, blah blah blah, and he's on his way to help her deal with the whole situation when, oh no, that SUV from earlier is following her. And he's all like, I'm on my way. She's like, be careful. And that's how the book ends. Yep. Okay. Ruth. We gotta talk about that. You know, that's what happened. That was book. But good book. I'm gonna give it 4 stars like I gave 4. Yeah. Both 4 stars. It's a good time. Like, I'm having a good time reading these. I know the plot is wild because I just spent a long amount of time explaining it. But what I'll give it is that her writing, I really like her writing. Like, for these weird type of romances, I'm used to like cringy writing or writing that isn't the best, right? But like, you can tell that she's been writing romance for a long time. I think in the beginning she said it's been 12 years, right? So she has like a lot of experience, and this is just like something fun for her to do, right? This series. So, and you can tell, and I like that. It reminds me of my favorite bad movies that are like Velocipaster, in which they're bad, but like the whole idea is wild, and they know like there's no way you can make like a blockbuster off of that premise, right? And so just like lean into it and go fully into that vibe. Is very similar to that, and I love that. So there's that. 4 stars. I gotta clean up this desk because I made a mess to record this, and I love that for me. And it's almost, no, I said it was almost 11:30, but it's actually 11:35. Whoops. Oh no. I'm gonna go to bed. It is still 80 degrees. Kill me. That's the end of the vlog. I did it. I honestly don't know what the next vlog is gonna be. It may be a witchy one. That's a possibility. I honestly don't know. Yeah, that's everything. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna drink some more water because I can tell I'm dehydrated. And yeah, me promoting things. Links below. Podcast Fridays. Me vlogs Wednesdays. Link below the podcast stuff. There's the YouTube, but there's also Spotify and Apple Podcasts in the first link on my link tree. So that's the whole thing. And here's on Friday nights, I do gaming videos. If I still do those by the time this comes up, I should be. That's everything. Let's bless the fish and make another great thumbnail. Cause listen, when they made the first one for the forked, it was the exact vision I expected for this. So very excited for that. And I'm gonna go mark this as done and then go to freaking bed because I'm tired. Thank you for coming. Until the next video.